We have about half a minute. Sudarshan, what would you do with Jet?
Oh, if I actually owned it, I would sell and get out. This is only a story. You know, it takes months and years to revive. Shareholders won't get anything.
Okay. Mitesh, you too? Or is there a trading idea here?
No, avoid Lata. I think clearly, as Prakash was highlighting, it's a trader's delight. It's not. There'll be a lot of news flows, meaning very weird and sharp moves. Difficult to predict. No
for you too, Ashwini?
Well, sell on a gap up and see what happens. Sometimes you get lucky.
Okay, at the moment, the markets have opened with about a 0.2% gain. So 11,379, 26 up, 30 up now. So moving towards 11,400, 45 up on the Sensex, 37,870. And the Nifty Bank, actually Nifty Bank and Sensex are on par at the moment. It's only Nifty that's going up. The mid-caps are the outperformers with a 0.5% gain almost. So advanced declines are looking pleasant at this point in time. 2 stocks in the green for 1 in the red. Just pull up Jet Airways. It's defying doomsday profits. It's going up 7% at this point in time. But let's see whether it sustains because it's a hope trade. What's happening in the Nifty? The gainers are actually the oil marketing companies. Actually, oil marketing of all sides. IOC, ONGC, HPCL, BPCL all in the green. In fact, IOC is up 3% at this point in time. Indiabulls Housing, I think finance companies are getting their mojo back. Indiabulls Housing, as Nimesh pointed out in the Credit Suisse conference, also sounded positive of a 20% growth next year. This year, of course, will be a washout for many people. Eicher Motors also up 1.2%. Z up 1%. Again, Z exuded confidence in the CS conference. GAIL, Adani Ports, Vedanta, Bharti Infratel, Sun Pharma, Reliance, Bajaj Finance, all of them up well over 0.5%, and now the Nifty is climbing a bit. It's up almost 1/3%. Red Brigade, IT stocks. Clearly expected strength in the rupee, and therefore Infosys, Tech Mahindra, TCS, HCL Tech are all in the red. I mean, other than Wipro, everyone, and Wipro also is flat. Others in the red, JSW, Power Grid, Ultratech Cement, but not much. I mean, it's a minor red.
Okay, well, the mid-caps, the opening is good. It's 0.5% higher. The advanced decline ratio is positive, 570 stocks on the advancing side. Let's just quickly take a look at Jet. That one, of course, opened well. It's still holding up with 7% gains. You have the others as well, PNB, Bank of India, SBI, all holding up about 0.5% higher there after the deal has gone through. You have, a lot of these oil companies, so oil marketing companies that you mentioned, ONGC, the other PSUs, Coal India, etc., doing well. NBFCs are doing well today. Edelweiss Financial is up about 1.5%. Kalpataru Power, post that acquisition, is trading in the green, so Kalpataru Power should come up for you. It was up 4% in pre-opening. It's seen that kind of a move this morning as well. A couple of other stocks, ICICI Prudential Corporation will be selling 2.6% stake. So ICICI Pru is down about 2.5% right now. And Indiabulls Housing and Z Entertainment. So those are 2 stocks that were spoken about at the Credit Suisse conference. Both of them actually holding up with gains of about 1% or so. That's the list of gainers. Now the market gains have petered out a little bit. So the Nifty and the Sensex have flattened out. The mid-caps are holding up a smidge. On the downside, you have IT stocks that are under pressure. Infosys is the biggest drag, down about almost 1.5% or so. Things seem like they could go either way, Anuj. For now, it's just flat.
Yeah, for now, it's a bit flat. Let's see how things move. But, we're moving a bit towards towards yesterday's high. Let's see if there's some resistance because the market's texture has changed a bit. Now, Jet, there's a dichotomy in the cash and futures rate because all through it was an F&O ban and there were shorts. Obviously, the futures still have some way to go. That's the cash market price 6.5% higher. On futures, you're up about 10.5%. So that still has some gap, about 15 rupees. My sense is that gap will narrow as things move. And I'm not surprised with the opening of the Jet. Let's see where it goes because, and that's how traders make money because they take that risk. But anyway, IOC is up 3.5%, ONGC is up 3%. So some of these PSUs doing well. All in all, it's a decent start. Let's see if it sustains or not.
Hang Seng has fallen.
Okay.
I mean, it's not in the red, but it started off with 150 gain. Now it's up, I think, about 30-40 points. Yeah.
Okay.
So we could be having other reasons.
Yeah, it could be very volatile, of course. Ashwini, are you taking any trade here?
See, yesterday you would recall that I had said that tomorrow there could be short covering first. So my sense is that since we are not breaking yesterday's low, there's a good chance that the market goes up first towards 11,400, 420, and then maybe takes a view from there. For the moment, you can buy into at least the bank Nifty and see if we get higher levels.
Okay, well, a couple of these stocks do deserve mention. IT stocks are under a bit of pressure right now. Sudarshan, any thoughts on how to approach a name like Infosys, and post-market opening, what would you be looking at?
Well, post-market, the market is choppy and I don't have an additional view. Just wait for a rally to build short positions. Infosys, to me, Infosys and TCS are buying opportunities. Once this decline ends intraday, I think I would be a buyer there.
Okay, 12.5% higher now on the jet futures. Remember, there was temporary freeze at 10%. The next temporary freeze will happen at 15%. My sense is at least that much should happen just to bridge the gap between the spot price and the futures price. So now about 8% higher is what you have. Even if you bought it open, you're making money on Jet Airways. That's the kind of move that you've had. Because it was in F&O banner and it came out. A couple of other stocks, Motherson Sumi is bouncing back a bit after the last few days of relentless selling. So that's something to keep an eye on. And IT, of course, is down. So mid-cap IT also following suit. IOC, any thoughts, Mitesh? That's been a big stock.
In fact, I like all the three, Anuj. I would have suggested HPCL as one of these stocks to watch out for. IOC also, I think, has given a swing breakout above the earlier highs of 165. And I think, I'm looking at targets close to about 176, 177 over a year. So I think there's still some more trading bite left for a day.
Okay. Ashwini, did I get you right? You want to buy the Nifty Bank right away or buy it on dips? And if you bought, what would be the stops for that trade?
See, we've been getting the dip for the last couple of days. And the stop would be basically low of the day. And once the market stabilizes and stops showing downside traction, my sense is that Bank Nifty could do 100, 150 points on the upside.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thanks a lot for taking us through the market opening. For now, the Nifty is up about 10 points. The Bank Nifty up 53 points. Stock of the moment, of course, is Jet Airways. That's now up about 8% in cash market, inching higher. And in F&O up about 13.3%, getting close to that 15% temporary freeze. That's been the kind of move that we've seen in Jet Airways. Andrew Holland is with us, CEO of Avendus Capital Alternate Strategies. Andrew, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. Last 1 month, we've seen so much inflow into our market from the FIF side. Your thoughts on whether that could continue to drive the market higher?
Well, first of all, do you think the flows will continue? I do think that, and the reasons behind it, we talked about it before, but my view is that the US is in recession and everything else will follow soon after. That means that yields, as we've seen anyway, will go down, and that will take a risk-off trade, and India will be seen as a safe haven, which is why you're seeing so much flows coming back to India. And there's obviously that bit of catch-up as well. So I think India's in a reasonable spot, because if I think 6 months out, is that what would I see then? I'd see hopefully a stable government. That's the first thing, but more importantly, a lot lower interest rates globally and in India. Along with lower commodity prices, including oil and metals. And that's a great environment for India. So I would expect these flows to continue quite strongly throughout the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Andrew. Always good to have you with us. Okay, so are you net long? I mean, are you more long than short at this point in time? You betting on liquidity rather than on the growth that is not there?
It's a combination of factors. I mean, if I just split out your kind of shorter term liquidity, then the RBI in April can easily kind of reduce interest rates by 50 basis points if they have the inclination to do so. So there's your liquidity factor, which is going to be helpful. And then obviously as global yields fall, that's going to be another factor which will help that the RBI in their thinking. And commodity prices will be the next leg. So, if I look at that, then both shorter term and the next, 6 months, should be good for, kind of liquidity-driven type stocks, such as the banking sector. And that's what you've seen in the rally, actually, in terms of the banking stocks. So that I believe will continue.
Okay. Andrew, hi, good morning. Would you be a bit cautious on the IT names now? I mean, there are reports emerging that, BFSI is weakening in both US and in Europe, and you don't have the rupee tailwind anymore as well. How would you approach this space?
Well, there's 2 points. First of all, Lata, I didn't mention that we are, we are net long in terms of our thinking at the moment.
Oh,
but to answer your question, in Sonia, in terms of the problems for the global banks is that if your yield is falling again, then there's no real growth for them. So it's more of a profit problem for the banks and trading problem rather than it's a slowdown in terms of the work that they're doing or the outsourcing that they're doing as well. So I'd still like the IT sector. It's had a good run. It's had a nice pause, and I think it's probably ready for the next upturn going forward. Because I do think the rupee is probably slightly overvalued. I think it should be nearer to 70, not 68.
Andrew, the poster boy of last bull market, Maruti, is seeing a crunching bear market, and it's got some other stocks as well in company. Are you tempted to buy at these levels, or you think the structural story perhaps could be over here?
No, well, it's a structural sell. So all of the auto sector, and the reason behind that is that I'm not saying that things have gone so bad, but the growth rates they've enjoyed are just not coming back for some time. And what you're going to have is, as you always have in this environment, is they're going to have to either discount more, they're going to have to advertise more, which all means that the margins are going to be under pressure. So that operating leverage that they've been enjoying so much is just going to go away from them. So until I see analysts, reduce forecasts by at least minimum 20% across the board, then there's more pain to come because forecasts are too high, that's for sure.
Okay. I'm not asking whether you're buying Jet or not, but how does one think about Jet now?
Well, given that they just cancelled one of my flights, not too happy, but it's been a great story. I mean, they really have done a lot for the airline industry in India and what our expectations should be. It's difficult to say. We'll have to wait and see. But I would have thought whoever comes into it, it's going to take a long time to get back to the kind of heydays of where they were and the number of routes that they took us on, both domestically and globally. So I think it's just one you have to watch play out and see who's got deep pockets and want to get into an industry which, I know all the airline stocks have rallied recently, but none of them make money, and domestically, I just can't get my mind around that because every flight I catch, and I'm sure you do, is always full. So I don't know what's operationally wrong with these airlines, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's true. It's not just airlines in India, right? I mean, the whole operating model is faulty even across the globe. I mean, none of the airlines across the globe are making money, if anything, sitting on huge losses. But Andrew, you said that there's a structural sell in some of the auto names like Maruti. What about the other pockets, consumption, consumer durables? Because we hear that there is a lot of undercutting happening, big price cuts in appliances because of weak demand, etc. Is consumption a pocket that you're going to stay away from for a while?
So on the discretionary side, I mean, it's again, you have to pick your right companies of where you want to be, and we were hearing the same as well. For some of the companies we speak to, but we think it's more temporary. It's it's not long lasting. The consumption story in India is just not going away from us. So when you get these pockets of kind of you know, kind of negativity around very short-term kind of trends, it's a great time to be just loading up, because, you know, over the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to make a lot of money. Both, I think there's only two sectors I think about where you're going to make a lot of money over the next 2 to 3 years, and that's banking, and that's you know, consumer spending. Both, whether it's, you know, kind of your pure FMCG or your discretionary spending as well. So those are the two areas which, you know, I know you're going to, I believe anyway, you'd make good money over that period.
Andrew, we'll leave it there today. Thanks a lot for joining us. It's good talking to you. By the way, there's some heavy-duty buying happening in GMR Infra in the futures market. This is a massive open interest build-up, almost about 10%. Don't know if I've missed any news on that one. But yes,
they want to buy back some stake in Mile and stuff like that, but we'll have to wait and see. Actually, sorry, not in Mile, in some of their airports.